Hello and welcome to Hardway Learning. Today we're going to talk about torsion bar indexing on the 1983 Porsche 944. In the rear of the 944 we have what's called a torsion bar, and there's a carrier, which is this tube. We are currently only looking at one side. The carrier itself is mounted to the back underneath of the car. So our spring plate is this purple section that connects to the trailing arm, that connects to the rear tire. And what happens is there's teeth on this side of the spring plate that ties to the torsion bar, which is this green section. And then the torsion bar has more teeth or splines on the inner section that connects to the carrier. Now, this side that is connected to the spring plate pivots with your trailing arm. This side is fixed. So when your suspension is moving up, it twists this torsion bar, which acts like a spring, much like a coil would, and it fights that force. And depending on how this is indexed, it's preloaded in setting your ride height. So in my case, I wanted to raise my car, and because these have different numbers of teeth, we have 40 teeth on the inside, 44 teeth on the outside. Each index of one tooth results in a different angle of change. So on the inside, you have 40 teeth. If you moved one tooth in one direction on the inside, it results in a 9-degree change on your trailing arm. And if you move one tooth on the outside, it results in an 8.18 degree change on the outside. So in my case, wanting to raise the car 1 inch, what you can do is index a set amount of times counterclockwise on the inner, because any direction that you're moving on the inner is going to go slightly further when you counteract it with the outer. So a combination of going counterclockwise once on the inner and clockwise once on the outer results in a 0.82 degree angle change, which results in, once you do the trigonometry to incorporate the full length of that arc length, results in 0.23 inches of lift, going one tooth counterclockwise on the inner and one tooth clockwise on the outer, 0.23 inches. So if you do that 7 times counterclockwise on the inner and 7 times clockwise on the outer, it results in a 1.61 inch lift, which matches our 1.5 inch spacers in the front. Close enough. You can actually adjust, there's a locking bolt and an eccentric bolt on the spring plate to dial in plus or minus a 1/2 inch to get you exactly where you want to be. Now in practice, it's actually fairly difficult to actually feel and count how many teeth you've moved. So what I did was place a digital angle meter actually on the spring plate, measured my initial starting angle, and then indexed the outer spring plate. Say my starting angle is 5 degrees, and I know to get my 1.61 inch degree lift, I needed to add 5.7 degrees of angle. So I would be targeting 10.7 degrees of angle when I'm trying to place this back in. And if you can't get there, you just jump a tooth one way or the other on the outer splines until you get roughly the target finish angle, which in my case, there is a little bit of measurement error. So I was happy to find my finish angle plus or minus, a half degree in one direction or the other, because you can really only jump 0.82 at a time. If your tolerance is a little less than that, there's a good chance you're there, and it's just you're not exactly hitting the number just because the measurement is not super precise or accurate. Someone correct me. Comment below. Okay, so now I believe we need to take the old these off, and that will free the spring plate carrier for us to re-index this bad boy. Now I've done some maths. We want to gain 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters of ground clearance. So based on Clark's Garage information, and then I also double checked the math, is if we index the inner 6 times and index the outer 6 times the opposing way. So inner down times, outer up 6 times. That will equate to 4.92 degrees of angle change, which would equate to 1.38 inches of lift. So I'm gonna go 7 inner down, outer up, and that will equate to 1.61. And then with the eccentrics, we can dial in up to a 1/2 inch each way, a total travel of 1 inch to adjust from there. So, but we're gonna need to take this outer thingy off, which looks like some 17 millimeter bolts. Alright, so I just marked a line so that if this, for whatever reason, pops off and I lose where I am, before I get a chance to measure this angle with reference to how it's sitting, we'll be able to find home again and get our references. Because once we pull this off, we'll set this up on a table, we'll measure the angle of this, and then try to target 5 degrees more angle from what this measures at to get our appropriate lift. Dude. Alright, we're gonna pop this old baddie off. 17 mil, 17 mil, and 17 mil. I literally thought that just snapped. It came off so easy.
Tri-bar Reno.
Okay.
Hopefully on the other side you have it came off the bottom there somewhere, I think.
So this is where this side is resting, and we'll want to add roughly 5.7 to that number, so around 12. Yeah, this connects to the trailing arm, and this connects to the body. So we need to clock this until that says 11.1 roughly. Alright, so now I'm pulling the spring out, which
Oh, you are so dangerously close to that. Bring it this, push it towards me a little bit so it doesn't fall onto your... This looks like it ends well, kids. Do you think it's a dent in the car? It's hitting him in the nuts? Put your vote in the comments below. You know, I was thinking it. Probably a $90 bushing.
One thing that I would like to share with you is figure out your indexing before you replace the bushings, because it's a lot easier to slide in and out. Get your measurement here. And it's a lot easier jumping one tooth at a time on the spring plate side and then roughly placing it in here until you get the angle you want it. Alright, so I read online that to get the bushings off, you heat this up until the glue between the rubber and the spring plate break free. Heating the inside of the spring plate, I went around the edges with a blade all the way around to get it off the face of this. You're gonna wait until this starts to smoke. That means the rubber is being released from the metal. Alright, so these did come with some glue, but I watched another guy's video who looked like he restores a lot of old Porsches, and he said throw the glue away, you don't need it. So that saved me the concern of sliding it about halfway on and having it set the glue in the middle of the spring plate. This pushed on pretty easy with just my hands. I pushed myself against the car, pushed it on, flipped it over. I've been wet sanding it with Elephant Racing's white cloth provided. So I'm just cleaning up these surfaces. Ideally, you'd go get these zinc coated, or you'd just buy brand new spring plates with bushings installed and save yourself this whole hassle. But we're not, you know, we're not that kind of person. So we're here, you know, 8:45 on a Thursday night, and we're sanding down our original spring plate in hopes that we can get this car back together in 3 weeks for a rally. So I'm just gonna finish cleaning this up, press the bushing on, and then this side will be done, and I'll do the same for the other side. Another thing to note with these OEM style rubber bushings, you do not want to apply any regular grease. You'd want to do something that isn't petroleum based, otherwise it'll eat away at the bushing. But that is how easy they press on. Really interested to see how easy it'll go into the tube as well as the outer plate. Before sliding the torsion bar back in, you'll also want to clean the rubber that is bonded to this surface. One more thing this kit came with was extended bolts to pull the outer carrier into the bushing. Alright, so I got the bushings pressed in with the spring plates. Now I just want to do one final check to make sure each side is relatively close to each other, and they are within 0.3 degrees. So I think we're ready to put this thing back in and start assembling the rear.